My name is Katie. I run the programs in the park, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the first ever Arts Network Night tonight. For those who don't know, Arts Network Night is a new program that we're starting this year to give artists and those interested in learning more about art in the Newark community a chance to get together, meet new people, hang out with old friends, make new ones. And we're really excited tonight to have two wonderful speakers who are really two major anchors in the arts community here in Newark. First, we're going to hear from Campbell. Gary is the creator of the Artist Recreates the World YouTube series. He's a really cool guy. We'll hear from him in just a moment. And following Gary, we're going to hear from Chandri Barat, the Barat Foundation. And the Barat Foundation is really great for public art in Newark. You can see some of their examples over here of modules, which they'll be speaking about shortly. And they really are all about public art made by the public. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Gary Campbell.
Thank you, Katie. Welcome, everybody. I just want to thank Military Park and Katie, Jessica. Can you hear me? Is this testing? For putting this event together. This is like really important here in York. The artists and what we do. I started a YouTube series about 2013 called Artist Recreates the World. And what I've done is I've interviewed over 160 artists here in the Newark area. It has been quite an interesting journey. I'm a visual artist. I started as a fine arts major at Jersey City State College some years ago. I tell you the number of years from now. But this whole idea of art and what art is always intriguing. It's always fascinating. What is an artist? Thank you. It never, you can never put your finger on it. So now, when I started the series, I actually resigned from my federal job. And because I was like very uneasy, I was in the corporate world first, I did some non-profit work, and then I was working for the feds. And a lot of people know what it is like when you're working for the federal or the state or local. There's no, you can't get that satisfaction in like what you do. So I asked my astrologer, I was like, yo, what's going on, like out in the universe for me like that? And he said, listen, if you believe in this concept, if you want to do what you think you need to do, just save some money, or if you have some money, go out, launch out and do it. So in December 2013, I had a little bit of money, and I launched out. I resigned from my federal job. Great benefits, I couldn't get fired, I had a great supervisor's position, but I was very uncomfortable because I wasn't doing the art, and I was an artist. And this probably can resonate with a lot of people. They're out here in the corporate world doing nonprofit work, working for the state, but they're like really uneasy because they can't do their art. So anyway, I was trying to search and find out what I could do. I was a photographer for a while in the past. I had done some writing. I have a degree in communications and culture. Now, so what happened was, I'm trying to find my way. I'm trying to find my place. I'm trying to find the space, how I'm going to make money. I started about 8 different blogs, writing on various stuff, just trying to find my space. So then finally, as I was going to the poetry sessions all around in the area, it dawned on me that these people were so very, very talented, and nobody was giving them any props. You wouldn't see them in Local Talk, or you wouldn't see them in the Star Ledger, but they were truly gifted artists. So I decided to interview these people. So I started, actually, my first interview was done actually in this park when this park was created, redone, Military Park. And I started doing interviews right here. I didn't have a lot of resources. I would take my MacBook Pro, open it up and use the photo booth, if anybody knows a MacBook, and just sit it right out in front of me and the person. And so my first topics was, what is art? How does art affect you? How does art affect you? So now the funny thing that happened was, when I started, I thought I was just going to be a very simple thing, like, oh, we're going to talk about art. No. After about 20, 30 interviews, it got crazy. It started getting political. I started learning more about the city, more about the history. After about 60 interviews, I started learning who the players were, the big players. When I said big players, who the galleries were, who was connected. After about 120 interviews, I started getting a little buzz. People started to know me. They started to get the name. I never made cards because when I meet people, I like to tell them the name of the YouTube is called The Artist Recreates the World, because I want them to remember that, the whole ring, and understand, to chew on it, to kind of feel it, to understand that it is the artist that recreates the world, whether it's the writer, whether it's the visual artist. And so what I found out in this YouTube series in talking to artists is that the culture has dumbed down the artists. They have taken the artists and they put celebrities here and there and they call them artists. But it's the everyday artist. It's the artist that writes. It's the artist that draws. It's the artist that makes modules. It's the artist that does architecture. It's the artist that does streets work, painting, and does murals. It's the artist that writes books that actually changes how we think, how we see the world. So that's why I titled the series "The Artist Recreates the World." But now, the other thing that this series does, it has this duality in that it's able to record this kind of linear progression of what's happening with the artists here in Newark as Newark is changing. So if the Star Ledger comes out with some information, or the local talk, or any paper or any information, we have a record based on poets and based on the muralists that is ongoing and running here in Newark. So it's been exciting. I'm looking for some more artists to interview. When I get up to 200, I'm going to have a celebration. Gary will have a celebration when I get to 200. Somebody told me I need to celebrate. So now, does anybody have questions? Because I know I could ramble. Anybody have any questions about the artists? How long was that?
We're going to do questions like personally after.
Okay. All right. Let me just say, when I started the series, I started doing, I announced it to be 31 interviews in 31 days. So I did a month. The reason why I continued the series was because after I did those 31 days, I had like something like 5,000 minutes. And I was like, wow, there's really something here. So I continued it. I tried to do 365 interviews in 365 days. That didn't work because of something we call winter. So when winter came, I could not set up any interviews. That went out the window. If anybody knows about scheduling, planning, and setting up people, it's nearly impossible to do. So I continued the series. I kept the pace going. And I didn't add that I do have Generation X, Generation Y, baby boomers, beta generation. I have some artists that have worked in the field for 30, 40 years. And then I have my youngest artist has worked for, it's just, we call those kids that do, he's a gamer. He's like 12 years old. So that's the range. So the other thing that has happened with the series is that people go and they find out who the artists are in the area by just looking at some of the interviews. Because if I interviewed 160 artists, you can find out who Jerry Gant is. You can find out maybe who Pothead is. You can find out who me and X is, Margie Johnson. You can find out who Marco Hall is. These are all artists. All right? So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you call me. Or we're going to take questions later. All right?
Thank you, Gary. Just so you guys know, we're going to do questions kind of like one-on-one after during the networking, so we're not doing them over the mic now. So I'm going to introduce Chandri Barat now from the Barat Foundation.
Hello. This is good. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound good.
So welcome to Military Park on a hot summer night. I'm Chandri Barat, Executive Director of the Barat Foundation Creation Nation. My partner in crime, Gary, is over here. He's co-founder of the foundation. We've been working in Newark for close to 20 years. And since the day we got here, I'm going to take this off. Yeah, since the day we got here, we've been hearing about this renaissance in Newark. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I really have to say that today, now, it really is coming. And the reason it's coming is because the artists are coming. Yeah. And the art is coming, and the art is here. There's just no doubt about it. Art creates renaissance, rebirth, joy, beauty, and transformation of individuals and of cities. We have a lot of stories. I'm going to start with the story of the animodule. The guy we have here, the elephant, he's a baby. He's a half-size animodule. Typically they're 8 feet tall, and he in life is also 8 feet long. And these animodules are all created by community, usually a school, usually children and youth, working with artists in residence. And in our formula, the artist is more of a facilitator than the artist. The artist goes in. The first step is what we call ideation, getting the ideas of how the community wants to represent itself. The artist organizes it in a visual way. We cut it out, and the kids actually paint it. We call what we do public art by the public. There is wonderful public art, and there are fabulous artists that do murals throughout Newark, throughout the Northeast, throughout the country, and throughout the world. We're a little bit different. Everything we do is what we call public art by the public. That means the public is involved. Our first mural in the city, which is on Broad Street by Lincoln Park, Support and Protect Our Children, which was created when the Dalai Lama and the International Peace Summit came to Newark, was painted by 500 children in 14 schools. That's what we do. It's giving voice to the voiceless and putting the community into the public conversation. If you look around at most public art, and we have a beautiful example right here, it's great, it's a couple of centuries ago, and the truth is, it doesn't look very much like us anymore.
Yes, right.
If you've got a 10-year-old kid from Newark at the Hawkins Street School walking through old public art, where does he fit in? Where does he see himself? And so we go to Hawkins Street. We've gone to Hawkins Street actually several times, and ask the students there how they want to represent themselves, whether it's a cougar or an elephant or a butterfly or a dragonfly. And the kids actually create this piece of art that is going to last longer than their tenure at that particular school or institution, and represent them continually. And our goal is to have every child in this city have their hand and heart directly on public art. That means that the public art will not be defaced. It does not attract graffiti, right, because everyone in the city knows that it's the voice of the children. We've gone into some very challenging areas, some very challenging schools. I'll tell you one story of one very difficult school. We were given the task of working with the B students, which is code for those kids who are too wild to be in with the other kids, graduating 8th grade from this particular school. And we walked in, and the kids are literally bouncing off of the walls. And normally we allocate 25 to 40 hours to create one of these things. Well, in this particular environment, it was more like 80 hours. And at the end, guess what? They created something fabulous. And when the principal asked some of the kids to write about the experience, one of the girls, one of the really tough girls, wrote, "Well, after getting paint all over my clothes and fighting with all of my friends and it taking 2 months longer than we ever imagined, I learned at the end that by working together we could create something wonderful." And that's what it's about. It's about team building. It's about bringing the community into the public conversation. That we are not superimposing our will or an artist's will or a corporation's will on the public space. We look at these as creative placemakers. And creative placemaking means activating public space. And activating public space from within the community, which creates civil engagement and ownership. You've got that 10-year-old kid in Ecuador who's created his own sculpture. He owns it. And again, there are so many stories. A couple of years ago, there was a Hoop Fest in Newark, and we had some of our animaduals out, actually right here, in front of the Newark Historic Society, and Cory Booker, who was mayor at that time, and the head of the Historic Society were standing in front of the building, and this adorable little kid walks up, and Cory Booker came up to him and said, "Hey, have you ever seen this elephant animadule?" And the kid said, "Yes, I painted that son." And that's what we're about. We want every kid in Newark to say, "Yes, I painted that sun. Yes, my hands are on that art." We are educators, we are arts educators, and when you go into an inner city school, once you get past the excruciating testing schedules, you start to hear from the professionals that Johnny is 2 years behind in math, he's 3 years behind in English. They tell this to Johnny when Johnny's 7 years old. And by the time Johnny is 10 years old, it's become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And whether you know it or not, jail cells are created based on third graders' scores. So rather than telling Johnny that he's 2 years behind in math and 3 years behind in English, we can go in and tell Johnny, "Wow, you are really creative. You've really done something fabulous. You've done something that everyone can see. You're going to be celebrated in public." And what we find is that success is every bit as addictive as failure.
Yes, right.
And what this public art form does is it gives the children of the city an opportunity to be successful. Once a year, we round up all the animaduals. There are 50 or so of them now. Some of them are at the airport. They greet 500,000 people a year coming into this area. But once a year, we round them up. This year, it was May 11th, just a few weeks ago. And we march in what we call the Creation Nation Art and Peace Parade. And this year, the whole Newark public school system was involved. Prizes were given out for best costume, for best banner, for best poster. We had the entire Newark public school system marching with their art, marching with the animaduals. And that's what it's about. It's about celebration. It's about joy, about celebrating our children and ourselves in public. So that's what Creation Nation is about. It's a philosophy of radical inclusion, that everyone has a voice, that everyone's voice is valuable, and that everyone's voice can be seen or heard in the public sphere, in the public conversation. That's it.